Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for hopping on. We're excited to have you here. Feel free to turn on your camera so that we can see everybody's smiling faces. It makes it a little bit easier to participate and ask questions. If there's anybody watching from different locations, we'd love to know. I'm in Orem, Utah again. Surprise, I know I'm there every week. I think a couple weeks ago was the last time we did this, and I think Florida took the cake for who had the most people. I just saw somebody from Texas show up, so that's awesome. We're excited. Welcome, Texas people. Reno, Arkansas, great places, great places. Pennsylvania, Houston, Texas, awesome, awesome. Another Houston. Amazing. Well, I'm so excited to have everybody here. Today we have with us Wally Bressler. He's going to do a little bit more of his intro and information, but we're so excited to have him here. Some of you may recognize him from the REDX prospecting community on Facebook. He's on there and he always gives phenomenal advice. He is an amazing agent and coach and author. So I would like to thank you for being here, Wally.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much. Really excited to be here, as I'm sure people say all the time. I'm gonna probably go like 40 minutes today. Is that okay? If you guys could just put like a little thumbs up in the chat. Probably gonna go closer to 40 minutes. If it's okay with you, we're gonna probably go 10 minutes longer. It's like, oh, there are the thumbs. I like it. Some people have this stuff down, man, all the thumbs and stuff like that. So I'm super excited to be here. All right, so we're gonna just jump right into it here, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself as we get rolling here. But thanks for making some time today, and I know I'm going to make this a very good use of your time, and so let's get started here. You can see. Let me just want to share my sound here, and let's roll. All right, cool. So anyway, I think deep down a lot of people know that they need to get on the phone to make phone calls. A lot of people don't want to get on the phone and make phone calls. And today, if you're a perfectionist or a procrastinator, if you're a perfectionist, put a 1 in the chat. If you're a procrastinator, put a 2, and if you are both, put a 3. I was a 3, so I'm gonna put a 3 in there for me. Yeah, and so it's not uncommon. It's a pretty common thing. You're among friends here, so that's a good thing. And anyway, so today we're going to talk about why the phone. Well, we're going to talk about 3 things actually. Why don't I just get onto it instead of just telling you? Okay, so we're going to talk about why the phone's not going anywhere. It's interesting. Back in 1995 when the internet hit the ground, they're like, "Oh, you're never going to buy anything ever again from somebody face to face. It's always going to be." It's all going to be online and you're never going to go to another business for anything. And well, that didn't work. And then, hey, AI is going to make real estate agents disappear. And well, everybody's still here. And so, the phone is going to be here forever. Okay. And we'll talk about that. Number 2, you can't pick up the phone. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to resolve. What I've noticed is that some people are cool talking with people they do know, but don't want people to talk to people they don't know. And some people are cool with talking to people they don't know, but they do want to talk to people. Some people will talk to people they don't know, but they don't want to talk to people they don't know. And some people don't want to talk to anybody. So you may be in one of those categories. Ruth, did that one of those hit you hard, Ruth? Ruth giggled after I said that, right? So it's all right. You're in good company here. There's a lot of folks here. In fact, statistically speaking, 6 out of 10 people, every 10 people in here has some challenge with picking up the phone, handling objections, or something like that, okay? And you'll know why today and what to do to overcome it, and then how we're going to show you how to make call reluctance go away for good. So this is me. Been doing this a minute now. I've been very fortunate. I've coached some of the top real estate agents and teams across the United States and Canada. I've been fortunate enough to write and publish a few books. I'll tell you about my newest one today when I'm done here. And I've just had a really, really fortunate and blessed career in real estate since I got it in 1998. And I think what a lot of people don't say is that, even though they've had a profound impact on people's lives, these people have had a profound impact on my life. I mean, some of my coaching clients all the way back from when I started back in 2001 are still very good friends of mine today. And so I love that. So here's why the phone will not hurt you, okay? Because unless somebody throws it at you or you eat it, there's nothing it can do to you. It cannot hurt you, okay? Right? It's only 7.99 ounces. It's plastic, it's metal. So unless somebody launches it at you or you eat it, it's never going to hurt you, okay? Not one person has died from making a phone call. They used to say there was this story like people don't want to get up, like people are more afraid of standing up in front of somebody and talking than they are of dying. Only one person has died from public speaking, and that's because I think the horse kicked the stand out from under the stage they were on and they fell down and died. So they didn't actually die from speaking. So you will not die from the phone. I promise. It may feel like you're gonna die sometimes, but you're not gonna die. All right, anybody here have a phone call face? It's time to go make phone calls. And you look like you'd rather do anything else. All of a sudden that pile of laundry takes on an incredible level of importance, or right? Yeah, you're like, oh, those dishes, I haven't talked to my mom. I gotta rearrange my shoes, whatever. It's perfectly natural, right? Okay, so that is a lot of times that's why people like this, and for those of you who came in later here, we're talking about why the phone is still going to be valuable for years to come in real estate. More importantly, why people are unwilling or for some reason feel like they can't pick up the phone to make calls, either to prospect, to call nurturers, to recruit for their real estate company, or they get an objection and they're out the door right away. So we're going to be talking about where that comes from and how to overcome it today. But right now, we're still talking about like, is the phone still a valid means of communication with social media, AI? It certainly is. Because at some point, you're going to have to get on the phone and get somebody in front of you, and you got to compel them to do that. Is that fair? At some point, you've got to give somebody a reason, not just to meet with you, but also to do business with you. So numbers, unlike children, do not lie. So you can see here the data speaks for itself. Buyers are taking phone calls from people. Sales professionals still see that the phone is a valuable tool. By the way, 62.1% of internet generated leads are converted over the phone. Okay. And here's the thing. Oh, the leads suck. The leads don't suck. It's just that they only converted at a rate of about 2.4%. All right. Out of every 100 leads, you're going to talk to 10 to 15 of them. Half of them, you're going to have like meaningful conversations with 10 to 15 of them. Half of them will say they're going to do something, and half of them will actually do something. Okay. So that means wrong number, bad number. I was just looking, FU, hangups, all part of the statistics. Okay. It's all part of it. Okay. And so you got to take that in consideration, because at the end of the day, if you can get through those, you're going to get to where the good stuff is. Okay. And a lot of it has to do with your tone of voice. And we're going to talk about how, if you have some sort of issue with getting on the phone or staying on the phone, how that can impact your tone of voice and your ability to convert people. So interestingly enough, like people want to talk to somebody during the consideration stage, but what stage do they really need to talk to us in? It's more important during the awareness stage, right? Right? Why do people need it, Ruth? If you don't mind, would you be willing to why do people need to talk to us in the awareness stage, Ruth? Does everybody know what they can afford the minute they call a real estate agent? Right? They have no clue, right?
Right.
Oh, yep. I mean, same thing like sellers. I mean, I guess the thing is, I guess here's like, how many people have you spoken with who were going to buy a home, knew how much they could afford when they talked to you?
A lot.
They went to a lender, they knew exactly how much they could afford before they met you?
No,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Nobody, right? Same thing. How many people knew the actual price of their home and knew the right price before they met you to list their home?
almost zero.
Yeah, right. So they need to talk to us before they're ready to do something, right?
Right.
Thank you. Appreciate you participating. You were voluntold and I loved it. Thank you so much. Right. So people need to talk to us sooner than when they're ready to do something. Here's the other thing. The number of contact attempts to talk to people is between 17 and 26. The rule of 7 is still true for business to consumer sales. 78% of your sales are going to come after 7 contacts, right? So I've talked to someone 7 more times in order to get them to do business with you. All right. And when you have a call reluctance issue, or you're a perfectionist or a procrastinator, or if you have impostor syndrome, you're going to be where most real estate agents are, which is they bail at 4 or sooner. Okay. Now, couple things here. Like I said, the phone, people have challenges. Scripts and dialogues make you sound robotic and unnatural. But when you internalize them, they don't. Everybody has a favorite song, right? We all have a favorite song. When you sing your favorite song and you sing the words note for note and with the same pitch and tone, that's a script. The Lord's Prayer, script, the Pledge of Allegiance, script. Things you say over and over again are scripts. And the more internalized they are, the more natural they sound, the better you sound on the phone. If I call somebody and say, hey, this is Wally, you were on my site recently, you were looking for houses in, Houston, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, around $600,000. Let me ask you, current window shopping, or are you looking to buy a home now? That's a script, but I don't sound like I'm scripted, right? And that's just because I've internalized that, if that makes any sense. What's the name of my Facebook group for REDX? You'll have to ask them. That's I think it's called the REDX, right?
The REDX prospecting community.
There you go, right? So scripts and dialogue still valuable. Number one, I have to be perfect and know everything to be effective on the phone. That is not true. There is no such thing as perfect. Okay, all you people in the South who are fixing to, or as my kids say, finda, getting ready to get ready. There's no such thing as perfect. And prospecting and being good at it is the ultimate catch-22. Why? Because in order to get good on the phone, in addition to role playing, you have to get on the phone and start having conversations and trip up and make mistakes. Here's the good thing. Nobody's sitting there and going, oh, Jack McAllister, you were supposed to ask me, timing and motivation question 1 and 2, and you didn't. Why didn't you ask me that? They don't know. They have no idea, right? You got to get on and you got to make it happen, right? I'm bothering people when I call them to discuss real estate. Okay, you can't bother somebody that's raised their hand and said, I'm looking to buy or sell a home, right? Now, look, are we inserting ourselves into the day? Absolutely. We are inserting ourselves. We're not bothering people. We're offering a solution. I worked at Putnam Investments, and the guy who is like the sales expert for the company said, cold calling is calling people you don't know to sell them something they don't want. Expires withdrawals for sale by owners, buyer leads. Okay, all those people are thinking about buying or selling a home or have thought about buying or selling a home. When you're calling them, they know why you're calling and you know why you're calling. Okay, does that make sense? And that's the attitude you have to have. Next, past clients in Sphere will send me business if I just email and text them. Right. Anybody run into anybody at the mall or at the grocery store? And like they were, oh, hey, good to see you. Oh, hey, we just bought a house. I'll see you in the parking lot after shopping. Okay. Like it because the thing is the text and emails are important, but you can, 4th of July is coming. You can go stick flags in people's lawns. You can give them packets of seeds, schedules, all kinds of stuff. But if you don't talk to them, it's not going to work. Think about every relationship in your life that's important. Do you talk to that person? Yeah, of course you do. Because if you don't build that relationship, emails and texts are just not going to cinch it for you. All right. The leads from most local lead sources suck. We talked about that. Here's the thing, nurtured leads go up to 8%. Right. So if I talk to you and you're not ready and I stay in touch with you multiple times, and this is really where business falls off for a lot of people, that's when I'm really going to see some huge gains in my conversion. Right. If I send enough emails and texts, I've got plenty of business. I wish I had, you know what? I got to go in and add the Price is Right fail sound. Right? Like texts and emails are not going to save the day for you in any way, shape, or form. The conversion rate is paltry to send thousands and thousands and thousands of them. Right? It's just about it's almost like somewhere between direct, above and beyond. I mean, below and above direct mail is very, very low. All right. And then once people see me on social media and we connect, they're going to want to work with me. You and every other real estate agent, right? Social media is great, but it doesn't cinch it. Okay. So we have to have conversations with people at some point because they're not just sitting to meet with us over time. Okay. Now, again, the overall conversion rate for leads is 2.4%. And email, and if you put email and other stuff in there, it gets to 3.3, but it's not a high rate. The good news is you get paid a great amount of money for each sale. Okay. So this all makes sense, right? And so now, if you're a procrastinator, a perfectionist, you have impostor syndrome, you can't pick up the phone, you won't pick up the phone, you are in the right place. Okay. I had call reluctance for 10 years. And I'm going to tell you where it came from. I'm going to tell you where yours comes from. And I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to overcome it. Okay. If you're a procrastinator, if you're like, you come home from an event and you're super excited and you write out your goals and it's multicolored, and you got a dream board and a calendar, and you have everything ready. And then it comes time to make phone calls and you're like, "Whoa." And the next thing you know, your brain takes you to do something else. There's a reason for that. And it's called call reluctance, right? And we're going to talk about those reasons here. People either won't pick up the phone or can't pick up the phone, okay? And here's what it looks like. Powerful negative emotions such as fear, embarrassment, shame, anxiety, guilt, and even panic, okay? If your mouth gets dry, if your palms get sweaty, if your pits get sweaty, if your stomach gets upset, you get lightheaded, you feel like you're going to die, that's your body's fight or flight instinct kicking in. And in most cases, it's flight because it's been triggered by your body, by your brain's fear of whatever could be on the other side of that phone. Okay. Sometimes you're like, they don't need it. They'll turn me down. It's too early. It's too late. It's a Sunday. It's the Cowboys game. It's whatever, I'm saying, any reason. Sometimes you go like vapid black. That was me. I just mental block for me. Sometimes we're the getting ready to get ready people. Oh my God, my presentation is not ready. I haven't learned my scripts yet. I gotta wait for my suit to get back from the dry cleaners. My shoes aren't shined enough. My car's not clean. Anything, right? Sometimes it's fear of getting in front of a camera. You know, it's interesting. There are people who have no problem getting in front of a camera to talk to people, but can't get on the phone. All right. Fear of calling past clients and fear to ask for referrals. Fear of recruiting people to your business or downline to grow your organization. And then finally, you beat yourself up and you get into this vicious circle of why can't I be successful? Why can't I be successful? And you know, they say, anybody know what the definition of hell? Anybody heard the true definition of hell? Anybody know what that is? It's another guy with like pointy ears and a pitchfork. The true definition of hell is the person you are meets the person that you were destined to become, or that you wanted to become but didn't. You run into that person that has everything and is everything you want it to be. That's the definition of hell. And I met that person about 4 years ago for me. So look, I'm going to cover some some challenging topics here in a minute. So just ride with me or stick with me to the end. I'm going to tell you exactly where all this stuff comes from. So that's me. 2013, September 5th of 2013. I had just checked into Forest City, FCI, Forest City, Arkansas. I had just pled guilty to 1 count of mail fraud. My business partner lied on $15 million worth of mortgages back in 2005 and 2006, taking full advantage of the flexible lending laws. And I did not try to steal any money, but my name was on paperwork. And as a result of that, I had to accept responsibility for being there. And I weighed 540 pounds there. So you can see I have my neck back, which is good. But how does a guy from a middle-class family in New Hampshire with a mom who's a teacher, dad who's a letter carrier, how does that guy end up in federal prison? Well, a lot of it had to do with a lot of the things that I had not resolved over the period of my lifetime, as a result of fear and insecurity and all kinds of things that happened. You know, my parents were nice parents, they just weren't good parents. And so, you know, we got hit a lot, we got yelled at, we got all kinds of punishments. Food was used as a weapon and as a reward. I had an eating disorder at age 6. I was sexually abused at age 10. I was bullied all the way through high school. My parents never taught me how to protect myself. And so by the time I was 14, I pretty much hated myself. I had low self-esteem, low self-worth. And, you know, basically, at the age of 14 on, I basically lived my life in shame and guilt, was afraid of everything and fear of success, fear of failure. But what happened is I went ahead and I basically did everything I could to outrun my shame. So if you were looking at me from the outside, what you would have seen is a kid who graduated like in the top 80% of his high school class, defensive player of the year for the state of New Hampshire, lineman of the year for my high school, went to one of the top 15 liberal arts colleges in the in the country. You know, led it all 4 years in football, was making 100 grand a year by the time I was 28. All right, but on the inside, you know, I was addicted to food. I was addicted to other things that happen to you when you have issues like that. When I was a child, by the time I was 45, I had blown $6 million. I was unfaithful to my wife. Really screwed my kids up. You know, my mom died. My dad died when I was 23. My mom died when she, I think he was 49, she was 6. So by the time I was 39, both my parents had died. I had lost everything 3 times, and I was a mess. And I was a procrastinator. I was a perfectionist. And, you know, and so I screwed everything up. I screwed up all my relationships. And then in 2013, I went to prison for 366 days. All my kids have had trouble. One of them has tried to take their own life, you know. I mean, you know, and then when I got out of prison, I had 54 cents to my name. I was homeless. I had no car, no clothes, no food. I fortunately had my job back. And if anybody's ever bought you underwear that wasn't related to you, that's a very humbling experience. The guys in my church bought me underwear. So, and you know, you would think that that was enough of a rock bottom experience for me to be like, hey, I got to get things straight, but it wasn't. And, you know, I met somebody a year after I got out of prison, and I was desperately wanting to be loved and approved of and accepted. And I dated someone for 4.5 years, very toxic relationship, asked her to marry me. didn't work out. I broke up with her. 3 days later, I found out she was married the entire time we were together. And so for me, that was the last bad decision of bad decisions. And so a month later, I decided I was going to take my own life. And I didn't, fortunately. But what I realized is that I had a lot of work to do. And if you've never been to rock bottom, I don't suggest it. And that's part of why I do what I do here, because I don't want anybody to have to hit rock bottom. I don't want you to have to lose everything and lose every relationship you have and have your kids hate you and not talk to you and all those other things that I did to my family. And so part of it has to do with, finding out what caused all that. And so I spent the next 4 years of my life in therapy twice a week, doing reading, seeing a counselor, going to coaches, and identifying how the heck does a guy, like me, how do I end up in prison, and why do I have call reluctance, and why am I procrastinator, and why am I perfectionist? And so here's what I learned is that when we're younger, there are things that happen that trigger our fight, freeze, or flight instinct. And what happens is your brain has to protect you. Its job is to keep you alive, right? But what happens is between the ages of being born and 12, nobody teaches you how to determine what you should be afraid of and not afraid of. So your brain just steps in and says, I'm gonna protect you from everything. And then as you grow and grow and grow and grow, your brain feels the need to protect you from everything that scares you, even if it's not going to kill you, right? Your brain's there to keep you from like petting rattlesnakes and getting in front of an 18-wheeler and trying to play chicken with it, right? But what happens is things happen when you're a kid that trigger that fight or flight instinct, and your brain feels the need to step in and go, hey, let me protect you here. And so here's the thing. If you had any sort of abuse, sexual, emotional, physical abuse, verbal abuse, if you had a near-death experience, if you were really sick as a child, if somebody died young, your parents fought all the time. I've dealt with people whose parents, their sister and brother got lost for a day. And what happens, your brain's like, oh, this is scary, I've got to protect you. If you were bullied, school, home, playground, it could have been one time. I have a friend who, she was a great real estate agent in Dallas, amazing luxury real estate agent, super perfectionist, tens of thousands of dollars a year on clothes and cars and makeup and procedures, because one day in gym class in 5th grade, she wore dress shoes with her gym clothes and the kids made fun of her. And for the rest of her life, she felt the need to protect herself. What's the problem with being perfect? Anybody want to know what the huge issue with being perfect is? It seems great, right? Being perfectionist seems awesome, right? Because that means everything's going to be great. Who wants to tell me what the problem with being perfect is? Anybody?
It's fear-based.
Unmute. Yeah, right. Exactly. 100%. Technically, these are all fear-based. So thank you very much. But here, what else is it? It's not just fear-based. It's what? Impossible. No such thing as perfect. You can't have perfect, and perfect is horrible. Drives you crazy, and it gives you helps you get yourself off the hook, because it'll never be perfect. I hate perfect. Okay. Hidden identities. If you grew up poor, I grew up poor. I used to get literally physically ill around people that had money because I really believed I couldn't have money. That's why I blew all that money. I used to spend thousands of dollars trying to impress people to get them to like me. Blew millions of dollars doing that. If you were short, if you were small, if you were big, if you were tall, if you were black in a big white neighborhood, if you were white in the black neighborhood, or Hispanic, if you were the outlier for your color or your race, if you were, you were gay. I mean, if you were marginalized, if you didn't get any approval and acceptance, when you left the house for school, if you got smacked in the head and your parents said you'll never be good enough, or you're stupid, or you're lazy, or whatever, all that impacts you, right? It kills your self-esteem. Here's a big one. If your parents never fought in front of you, they did you no favors. If you grew up in the Leave It to Beaver house with Wallace and Wally and Theodore, and you did nothing wrong and your parents never fought, the minute you left your house and went to grade school and the teacher said, hey, you did a bad job on this, your brain was like, what? It's like, no way, right? And so even that can trigger it. And interestingly enough, seriously, I've done research on this. Even stressors like not having enough food or not having money or your parents fighting can create a trigger for your flight instinct, for your brain to feel the need to protect you. It doesn't even have to be something crazy like some of the stuff I went through, other people went through. It could be something like that. Or your parents got divorced when you were young, and your stepmother was a jerk, your stepfather was a jerk. I have a client whose father left their family, went and married another woman, and Atlanta. She lived in Indiana. One Christmas, she was a kid, she went down there. There were Christmas presents all under the tree, and there were only 2 of them for her, and the rest were for the other woman's kids and not her. Like, if you want to tell somebody they're not important, that's the way to do it, right? If your parents were alcoholics, like Brene Brown's an alcoholic, right? She says, when you numb one emotion, you numb them all. Okay, I can't numb sadness and not numb happiness. I can't numb anger and not numb drive or excitement or hunger. Okay, if you're in constant negativity, so all these things work to kill your self-esteem, to trigger that flight instinct, to create situations where by the time you're 7, your brain's like, okay, this is how we think. By the time you're 10, your brain's like, okay, this is my thought process. And by the time you're 12, whatever you believe to be true for you and for other people, whatever your belief systems are, they are like that. And so, and let me give you an example. If you were teased and not felt not good enough, you are likely not going to pick up the phone because you don't want something negative to come your way. Or if your parents fought all the time, you don't want to call your past clients in sphere because people who know each other fight all the time, and that's not a good thing, right? Your little child brain associates negative things with those experiences, and as you get older, you reinforce it and reinforce it, and now literally you don't even think about it, right? T. Harv Eker calls it TFAR, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. I get a trigger, that feeling comes, and then instead of acknowledging that feeling, we just avoid it, and we go right into action. In a lot of cases, it's inaction, it's avoidance. It's procrastination, perfectionism, drugs, alcohol, sex, pornography, folding clothes, working too much, working out too much, finding anything to avoid dealing with that pain, and then we get a result we don't want. Okay? And that's why we go into these vicious circles. I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then we fall off and we find something to do. And then we're investing money in 400 different products that don't work. And it all leads back to you got to pick up the phone again. Okay? This all makes sense to everybody? It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility because it doesn't go away without your help. And it doesn't go away at all if you don't do anything. It actually gets worse. So what do I do? Well, Wally, I'm glad you asked. So here's what you need to do. And this is a proven process. I've been doing this for almost 6 years with people. I did it with myself. Yeah, for everything. Not, I lost 200 pounds. I was at, I'm saying I still have more weight to lose, but I was over 500 pounds. I lost 200 pounds. I mean, this works for everything in life. Okay. So number one, you got to identify the source. What is causing this to happen? As I've been talking, a handful of you have had experiences pop up from when you were kids that may have triggered something, right? Your brain remembers everything you've ever tasted, touched, smelled, heard, or seen, all of it. And so, but the thing is, your brain doesn't want to hold on to these negative feelings. It wants to let them go because your brain wants peace. It wants understanding. It wants clarity. Okay. And yes, you are correct, Sean. Sometimes fear of success kicks in there too, no doubt. But whatever it is, go get a couple note cards and just ask what from my past has caused me to experience call reluctance. Your brain is going to tell you. I would keep one note card with me. I'd keep one next to my bed because when you're in bed at night, your brain's trying to make sense of everything. By the way, if you have trouble going to sleep or staying asleep, that's your brain telling you we have stuff we need to work on. Right? Your brain's job is to process things and clarify things and gain understanding so you don't have to deal with them. And if you leave things unattended to when you're sleeping at night, your brain's doing its job trying to put things on shelves. And when it can't put the one thing about your unresolved issue because you were beat up at school every day on the shelf and you haven't dealt with it, it's telling you, hey, we got to deal with this. Okay. So, number one, you have to identify what that source is, right? It's like going to the doctor. You don't say, hey, my head hurts. And the doctor doesn't say, hey, lay down, let's operate, right? They ask questions. And so you got to find out where that comes from. But those experiences will come up and they will lead you to the proof you need for what exactly is happening. Okay, so the next thing is awareness, define, identify, and mindfulness. Now, once you realize it, what you have to understand is that every emotion has a physiological association, meaning your body experiences physiological signs when you feel any emotion, happiness, sadness, anger, ecstasy, joy, pain, all of it. All has a physiological sign. The thing is our brains get so good at avoiding it, we don't even go right into that. We just avoid and numb the pain in many cases. So what you need to do is start realizing that when I go pick up the phone, when my body starts to react, I've got to say, oh, there's that pain, that's anxiety. That anxiety comes from uncertainty. of X, Y, and Z. And then you got to let that feeling come up and you got to let it out. Right? When that feeling comes up, you got to say to your brain, okay, you don't need to protect me for this. And then you got to become mindful. And mindfulness is just basically focusing on the future, right? If I think about the future, I mean, I'm focusing on the present. If I think about the future, I get uncertainty, I get fear. If I think about the past, I get anger and sadness, but I'm focusing on the right now. I'm just telling my brain, hey, dude, we're good. Don't worry about it. It's all kinds of things you can do, right? You can walk, you can just relax, but let that emotion come up. And then the easiest thing to do is do some square breathing. If you just go and Google square breathing, you're going to have 4,000 videos. And all it is breathe in for 4, hold for 4, let out for 4, hold for 4, and just keeping engaging in that. And what that does is that gets you out of fight and flight. And then we get into what we call rest and digest, and then your brain chills out. And every time you do that and you force your brain to not freak out, eventually you start rewiring your brain and your brain doesn't freak out on you anymore. In fact, if you do good mindfulness work for about 7 to 10 days, you can already rewire your brain pretty significantly to keep it from freaking out on things like that. Okay. Next, you got to reprogram your brain for success. We are horrible to ourselves. We say the worst things to ourselves. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. Oh, I'm lazy. I'm this, I'm that. You know, like, you got bad news. Your brain listens to everything you say. Everything we say, our brain hears. Zig Ziglar says it takes 11 positive inputs to override 1 negative input. 11. Right? So what do? I got to go ahead and change what I think about. I got to change what I say to myself. Great book by my friend Hal Elrod. Right? It's got this book here called Miracle Morning. It's got what they call SABRs. Okay. And SABRs stand for scribing, journaling, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and then and then silence and meditation. 10 minutes of each of those. I raise my own hand. Look at me, how good I am. So anyway, but the whole point is, forget it. Anyway, so the whole point here is that you've got to you've got to take the time, and it's just an hour in the morning to start changing what you say to yourself. Right? We say the worst things to ourselves. If you wouldn't say it to a kid, you shouldn't say it to yourself. Don't say I'm not good on the phone. Say I'm working at getting better on the phone. Right? I'm focused on getting better on the phone. I can get better on the phone. I am getting better on the phone. Right? Not I suck at the phone. Right? Your brain goes, oh, we suck. Okay, we're not going to be good at it. So you have to take control of what goes into your mind to determine what you're going to let bother you, what you're not going to let bother you. Determine what you're going to say about yourself, what you're not going to say about yourself. It just takes practice, but over time, that repetition will override whatever's there. Essentially, you're using the same strategy that got you to where you are to get you out of that. It just takes some time and some effort. Next, you got to figure out what drives you. A lot of people don't know what their why is, and we're going to talk about in a minute, right? But, rather than, coming up with poster boards with cars and boats and money and grandkids and everything on it, think about what life is like, what going to look like when you are living your good life. There's a book by Daniel Pink called Drive. And he talks about 3 things that will keep us motivated consistently towards reaching our goals. One of them is autonomy. I've been doing real estate now for 28 years. I've been fortunate to coach for the last 25 years. And what I've learned is that everybody who got in real estate for 3 things: time freedom, money freedom, location freedom. There's subsets of that, but those are the big 3: time freedom, location freedom, money freedom, and money freedom, time, location, money freedom. So here's the thing. What does that look like for you? Who are you with? Where are you working? What does life look like when you have autonomy, meaning you do what you want, when you want, where you want? Get a clear picture of that, because without a clear picture of that, you don't know where you're going. And yes, you're worth it. You are worth it, worth it, worth it. I hate the word deserve. Because deserve means I've got to do something to get it. Okay. Screw deserve, you're worth it. We're all worth it. Okay. Number 2, mastery. What do you have to master to make it happen? Well, everybody's got to master emotional management. Got to learn how to manage your emotions. Emotions have no place in real estate as a salesperson other than driving you to be successful and using somebody else's emotions to their advantage to help them move forward and buying and selling a home. Negative, out of control emotions, I should say, have no place. Losing your mind, freaking out, getting mad at somebody, trying to control somebody. People lose hours, days, weeks, months over that sort of stuff. Holding grudges, bleh, right? You got to manage your emotions and decide what you're going to let bother you or not bother you. And then lastly, your purpose, your why, okay? Now, look, here's the thing. A lot of people think that their why is a kid or a boat or a car. That's not a why. That's a what. That's a who. That's a where. That's a when. Right? That's the outcome we're seeking. That is the outcome we're seeking. Okay? Three-part story here. And if you haven't read Simon Sinek's book, start Find Your Why, you need to read it. Because it tells you exactly what you need to determine your why. A lot of people have no clue what their why is because their brain is on alert 24/7, trying to protect them from whatever. And while your brain is on high alert protecting you from and in fear, it's not going to let you think about the future because that's scary. And if there's any underlying self-esteem stuff, you don't even think you deserve it, so you're not going to work towards it. So you say why, and like, oh, I don't know what my why is. I don't know why I'm doing this. So it's my kids, but you still can't push yourself to make it happen because your brain is trying to protect you from the scary stuff, right? So what are you trying to accomplish? How are you going to do it? Which means you have to contribute something to it. What is the action you got to take? And then what's going to back it? It's got to be backed by some kind of emotion, right? The pain of staying the same, the pain of something happening. So I'm going to give you an example from my own life. Everybody in my family is fat. There's not one thin person in my family. And if you've been an Italian family, you know they enjoy food, right? Right? Food around everything, right? And so that's not always the case, but that's a lot of the case. I grew up a fat kid. There's a very short period of my life when I wasn't fat, when I played college football. Other than that, I've been overweight. Circle back a couple years ago, I'm sitting with my daughter, Emma. She had just graduated from UNT with her master's in health and wellness coaching. I just come back from the doctor, and for the first time in my life, even with the medication I was taking, my numbers were really bad. My A1C, if you know anything about A1C, that's like marker of diabetes, it was 10.1. It should be 5 something. My triglycerides were through the roof. My glucose was through the roof. For the first time, I had red lines next to my kidney and liver functions. I was in, I'm 56, maybe 55, and my 56, and I'm in pretty bad shape. And so I come and I'm actually scared for the first time. So we sit down with Emma, and I said, Emma, I said, can you put together an eating plan and a workout plan for me? And she sat there and thought about it for a second. And she looked at me and she said, no. Like, we just put you through school. Like, can't help me. She goes, no. I go, why? Now, mind you, this is a 22-year-old young lady, you know what I'm saying? Like, she goes, I'm not doing it. I go, why? She goes, well, you've been telling us for decades now that you were going to lose weight, that you're going to take care of yourself, that you need to do the things you need to do, and you've let us down hundreds of times. And this is exactly what she said. My sisters and brothers, and she's one of 4, my sisters and brothers and I have accepted the fact that you're going to die young. We've already accepted that fact, and I'm not going to open my heart and let that happen where I can get hurt again. So I'm just not doing it. And I was like, okay, wow. And so that day, I decided for the first time, which is great, but at the age of 55, 56, I decided that I had to really do something. And so I went to the doctor again. I got some tirzepatide. I got a coach for food. I always had a coach. I got a trainer for a workout, even though I know how to work out, a diet program. And since then, I've lost over 100 pounds and kept it off. Right. And when I don't want to work out, I think about that conversation with Emma. When I don't want to eat well, I see my kids standing over my coffin looking at me. I see my dad laying in his coffin at 49 with a full head of dark hair still. Right. I think about what it would be like for my kids to not have a dad. I think about my ex-wife's husband raising my children. That alone usually does it, by the way. Anyway, I'm half kidding, but the point is, I use the emotion of those bad things happening to tell me to do what I need to do, or the things not happening. Now I go there, I just don't stay there. So what you need to be able to get to do is where you can manage your emotions enough where you don't want to make phone calls, but you've got to then go and say, okay, if I don't make this money, then I can't do what I want to do for retirement. I can't put my kids through college. I can't take care of my grandkids. I can't pay my bills. Whatever it is, you've got to be able to go to that emotion and say, I grew up poor. I'm not going to ever let that happen again. Or, you know what, my parents were never around for me. I'm going to be around for my kids. I'm going to do what I need to do to make the money so I can have an impact on my kids. Like, whatever it is, you got to figure out what you want, and then you got to figure out what you want to contribute, right? Part of it is the how. What actions are you going to take? And then what emotion am I going to use to back that up so I don't skip doing the work I need to do? Now, is this perfect? No. I have pizza. Occasionally I skip a workout, right? I mean, I'm not perfect, and I don't want to be perfect, and I'll never be perfect. But as long as I continue to see the good results, that's it. But here's the thing, until you get rid of the crap that's running around in your head, it's gonna be hard for you to master your emotions and go to the place where you can use that. And by the way, it's usually a negative emotion. Use that emotion to your advantage to propel you to do the things that you need to do. Are you guys with me on this? But I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how old you are. I've worked with people who are 18, I've worked with people who are 72, and everything in between, races, religions, creeds, from other countries, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. But once you do it, here's the great thing, it's done for good. Okay, once you make a change, the change happens for good. Does that make sense? All right, let me see here. I like that, Ashley, 100%. Great book, yes. What's the name of the book that helped you determine your why? Start with Why by Simon Sinek. All right. So look, I've been fortunate. Those are that first book right there on the left is my first book I published. It's part personal development, part memoir. It's like all the things that I learned and how I became them. That book, Six Figure Agent. I'm going to send a copy to Keely to give to you. It's I co-authored it with about 14 other real estate experts. It's our best tips for what you need to do to make six figures in real estate. And then I just published a book called Rethink Everything You Know About Prospecting with Chris Heller from Place and Kyle Draper from Higher Culture. And it's a book on everything you need to know to overcome call reluctance. It's an actually how-to book, okay? But I'll get this one book here for you guys, and I can get you a free copy of that too. Last thing, this song here, Let It Go. My daughter has literally wore the words off of the DVD, like literally wore the images off the DVD. Watch it, and I sang this song millions of times with them and never listened to it. And then a couple of years ago, I was listening to it and I started crying, and I realized that the song is about letting go of fear and realizing that there's nothing that can stop you if you don't want to let it stop you. And so the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits and break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. And that really stuck with me, because if you are sick and tired of not getting the results you want, and you want to be able to do the things you need to be successful, you see other agents who aren't as talented as you, aren't as smart as you, aren't as whatever quote as you, it's time to make a change. I have a class, it's an AD class where I guarantee you can overcome the call reluctance. If you're interested, starting one in about a week. I'm gonna put my cell phone number, my email in here. There's no pressure. 2144135 But here's the thing, and I can't say this enough, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me for 48 minutes. Thank you so much. It's not going away. Okay. It is not going away on its own. It's never going away on its own. It won't, it can't. Because you need to go and tell your brain that it doesn't need to worry about stuff it's been worrying about. Okay. And I can help you. I can make it go away for good, like for good forever. Right. And I'll leave you with this. First of all, thanks to everybody for letting me be here with you today. Thanks everybody who hung around. The pain of change is very acute. It hurts a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. The pain of change hurts dramatically. Okay. The pain of staying the same hurts a less, but it always hurts. Does that make sense? It always hurts. Does that make sense? The pain of change of staying the same always hurts. Sometimes it's worse, sometimes it's less. The pain of change hurts a lot, but eventually once you make the change, it's gone for good. Does that make sense? All right. So, oh, one more thing. I'll leave you with this. There's people putting their email address in there. Does that mean they want me to contact them? Is that what they're saying?
It'll
Yes.
be so for anybody that wants a copy of that book, they'll put their
Okay.
email in the chat. I'll make
Yeah,
sure
okay,
it gets
guys.
to
Yeah, and
them.
I'll get it to you right away. So here we go. Ready? Who likes Brussels sprouts here? Who likes Brussels sprouts? Yeah, all right, good. See, Jerry, those people are dead to us. All those people, you're dead to me. Brussels sprouts, literally the devil's testicles. Literally the devil's testicles. The worst vegetable ever. My parents are like, oh, it tastes like cabbage. No, it doesn't. It tastes like farts. You're lying to me. But here's the deal, okay? You crazies like them. Jerry and I, we don't like them because we're wise. But here's the thing. It's the exact same Brussels sprout. Okay, I'll just use this. This is a Brussels sprout. It's the exact same Brussels sprout for everybody. Some people like it and some people don't. Okay, it's not the Brussels sprout. It's us. Okay, we're a Brussels sprout. Some people don't like us and some people aren't. It has nothing to do with us. If somebody doesn't like you, it has zero to do with it. It has everything to do with how they feel about things, okay? And the sooner you stop caring about what people think about you and if people like you or not, the freer you are going to be. You with me on this? Okay? You're good enough. You've been good enough since the day you came out of your mother's belly. If somebody doesn't like you, they can go kick rocks. And just please, I'm begging you, start working on that. If you're interested, shoot me a text. My cell phone number's in there, 214-334-1356. Or you can shoot me an email, wally@milliondollarproduceros.com. I can tell you where your call reluctance comes from in 5 minutes. And if you want to take my class, I guarantee in 8 weeks, your call reluctance will be gone and you'll never have to worry about it again, okay? Anybody have any questions before we bounce here? All right, I hope this was helpful. Notice we didn't cover one script, one dialogue, one anything because none of that's going to solve your problem. Keely, thank you for having me today. God bless all you guys. Good luck with everything. We'll talk to you soon. Be good.